Hello all, welcome to the project presentation on adapting vendor managed inventory in supply chain. Our main project objective is to implement the vendor managed inventory. The goal of vendor managed inventory is to create a beneficial relationship that is mutual between the supplier and customer. In vendor managed inventory, supplier takes care of the inventory planning. The vendor periodically checks the inventory level and makes a periodic decision regarding the reorder quantities, timing and shipping. Let's go through the current scenario, the traditional supply chain. The current system consists of four components. They are the manufacturing plant, the vendor distribution center, and the retail distribution center and the retail outlet. The four players are linked together through a downstream feed forward flow of materials and upstream feed of information. In the traditional supply chain system, each player is responsible for their own inventory levels and so they implement their own inventory policies. The common problem faced by all the players in the traditional supply chain system is that how much quantity the manufacturing plant should produce to satisfy the customer's demand and attain maximum profit. Let's move on to the proposed scenario where we wanted to implement the vendor managed inventory. So the overall view looks like this, and by implementing the vendor managed inventory in supply chain, the vendor is assigned the responsibility of managing the retailer's stock so the real demand is known, and optimal production and ordering is done by all players through the supply chain. The plant produces and ships the product to the vendor distribution center, and then it is shipped to the retail distribution center. When the inventory level in the retailer distribution center is low and needs to be replenished, the system generates a replenishment order automatically to the vendor distribution center. If the vendor distribution center cannot fulfill the order, then the system checks for the product in the plant, assuming that the quantity is available, and ships it to the retail distribution center directly. Then the plant also begins the production of that product when the need of additional inventory is recognized. The outlet is the point of customer demand, and its point of source of product is only through the retail DC. Let's go through the challenges in adopting the VMI. There are four main challenges: inaccurate information, delay in information, sharing of information, and shipping policies. Let's go through one by one. Inaccurate information. The retailers contain numerous errors in data, in spite of the data being extracted by the use of automated systems, like barcode scanners, computerized receiving systems. The most important one is the delay in information. The information delay will impact the performance of all the players in the supply chain. It can occur in a number of fields, such as the information system of the retailer, or the information system of the vendor, or in the business process of the vendor. Retail outlets update the data daily, creates a longer delay in comparison with the retail outlets that update the data on an hourly basis. When the vendor obtains the information, there is a delay in time taken to analyze the information for making the replenishment decision. The next challenge is sharing of information. Because sharing of forecast needs to be emphasized on the products with non-stationary demand rates, such as new items, items facing new competitors, seasonal products, and products that are often promoted. If a stockout occurs at the retail distribution center, then the customer is not affected. However, if the stockout occurs in the retail outlet, then the customer's action could have an adverse effect on the supply chain. The last challenge is the shipping policy. Currently in this system, there are two shipping policies that are being used: the time-based shipping policy and the quantity-based shipping policy. In time-based shipping policy, the product is shipped from the plant to the distribution center at regular intervals. In quantity-based shipping policy, the product is shipped only when order reaches an economical quantity. But the time-based shipping policy results in lower inventory level but will have high fill rate at the retail distribution center. However, the fill rate at the vendor distribution center was better with quantity-based shipping policy because the target quantities has to be reached in order to ship the product, giving more time for the retailer to react. My friend Saravanan will continue with the rest of the topics over the project.
Hi everyone. For adapting the VMI on a supply chain, we have to implement it. So let's see what are the processes involved in implementation of VMI. So it includes there are many factors affecting the implementation of VMI. Let's go through one by one. First is computer platforms. Since the technologies used for implementing VMI mainly depends on the computer systems, we have to consider computer platforms. And since the communication is the key factor that is mentioned, that is spoke overall in the VMI, we have to choose the networks that are used for the communication very effectively and efficiently. So, and the other factors are product identification and tracking systems. Then the next point is like, though there are several factors, as we have discussed earlier, available, the main factor is the software systems that are used for the implementation of VMI, because they are the primary players when it comes to the decision making. So the decision making is one of the main process that will enhance the traditional supply chain by the use of VMI. So let's speak about what are the decision making factors depends upon. There are the decision making in the sense replenishment quantity. When some of the quantities in the retailers level reaches some of the threshold level, we have to decide upon the replenishment quantity. And second is the timing. In the next slide, we discuss about some of the key factors for the successful implementation of VMI. First is communication demand from all players. Like since as discussed as previously discussed by my friend, we have 4 players in the VMI. In our proposed systems, what we are doing is we are making a single layer communication between all the players in the system. So thus communication should be efficient and extensive. So second, the sharing of precise information from the customer end. Though we consider a lot of factors which may affect on VMI, the primary factor is the precise information from the customer end. And the third is supplier should make sure that the transition is possible, is reliable. So the next thing is test systems before bringing it to the market. Make sure that there are no errors before launching it in the market. And the final one is like sufficient time and money should be spent for the successful run. And the impact of VMI on supply chain. These are the 4 impacts that the VMI produces on the supply chain, the traditional supply chain. One is the lower retail outlet inventories. As we discussed, the supplier in the VMI controls the retailer's stock level. So there is no need of safety stock to be mounted, so it automatically reduces the outlet inventories of retailer. And the second one is the better forecast. Since we have extensive communication sharing, it is obvious that the forecast is better. And the third one is cost reduction, and the fourth is enhanced service. So even though we discussed several factors, several benefits that the VMI brings upon the traditional supply chain, the main factor that has been discussed a lot is the control of bullwhip effect. So let's see what are the problems in the what are the problems that cause the bullwhip effect. First one is the first it starts from the retailer introduction of variations in the pattern of demand that cause the inventory fluctuations. So the next step which is followed by the further expansion of the fluctuations by the supplier forecast, which is based on the retailer's requirement. And based on this two effect, this effect carries on in the upstream way in the supply chain design, thus making the demand by the manufacturer end more or less so dramatically vary from the previous retailer demand. So that's causing the bullwhip effect. So next we see how the VMI controls it. So in VMI, as stated earlier, vendor controls the retailer's inventory level. So when the inventory level of retailer reaches a threshold level, the supplier takes the replenishment decisions for filling it. And the third one is the replenishment occurs when the stock level of retailer reaches a specific level, as like this threshold level. Some other effects of VMI on a supply chain are reduce inventory stock outs by increasing inventory visibility, Inventory visibility in the sense like all the players in the supply chain system have the transparencies of what the demands going on. And the second one is solidified customer loyalty by building long-term relationship. And the third one is the higher selling space productivity through inventory optimization. And the fourth one is improvement of overall information system capabilities. The main takeaway from this literature review is like what we have learned is though VMI is popular in various market sectors, it has some limitations on its own. So what are the limitations is the lack of trust between the trading partners, uncertainty in the potential benefits. Even though it has some obstacles, but the future of VMI looks very bright because the technologies that are needed to implement the VMI are declining in its cost needed to implement it. And it's better to say that any company want to make use of a VMI will eventually end in making a efficient inventory management system, and it can easily account for its losses that has been caused by the traditional supply chain design. Thank you.